Hi everyone, thank you for tuning in. This is your instructor Joy. Let me first play a tune for you. This was a little beginning of Wohlfahrt study number 16. In English you might say Wohlfahrt. So this is common study book that a lot of violinists use in the early stage of their learning. Now this particular study is for us fantastic when it comes to training independent left finger. It's precisely more on sliding fingers. So we know when left hand there are two types of movement happening. One which is vertical movement, so falling. Second one is horizontal movement, which is sliding. Right? So here in this particular one we're going to work on sliding. Sliding finger technique is used widely whether you're shifting from one position to the next or you're in the one position but just pushing from one note to the next. For example, in this particular one we were playing from F natural to F sharp by using same finger by sliding it, or you were using C on A string, C natural, and then sliding to C sharp. Yeah. Here I would like to talk about sliding fingers in that same position without shifting. So now make sure your left hand is healthy, positioned in a healthy way, which means your left arm should be under the violin. It sometimes happens when the violin is very young or violinist has a very short arm. The violinist need to turn our left arm a little more to the right to support the left hand a little more. So this way to the right of the violinist. That sometimes happens, and the reverse happens too. Even though it's rather a smaller degree to the taller player with a long arm players, sometimes a little slightly to the left side. But always the violinist should feel comfortable. It should not be overly turned or overly stretched the other way around. So in general guidance would be just left arm positioned under the violin naturally. And you know the thumb should also position near first and second finger. The thumb moves all the time, whether we're shifting or in the same position, but generally it's a good start to keep the thumb near index finger and middle finger like that. A great teacher, Ivan Galamian, suggested the way we know whether it's healthy position or not is by placing octave, for example, B on A string and B on E string. And if you play together, that would be an octave. So when you can place your hand while playing octave comfortably, which means the wrist stays somewhat relaxed and straight. Yeah, and all fingers should be naturally curved, meaning even the pinky finger should be naturally curved. Yeah. So there are some violin instructors to encourage a lot of students to keep your fingers perpendicular, all 90 degrees like that. I'm not necessarily for that, even though sometimes we use that kind of finger, but in general, if you forcefully keep your fingers all 90 degrees, your hand is already quite tense, so you're starting a very difficult position. So you want to make sure all the fingers are curved, that way you can take advantage of your finger joint and do difficult passages, but don't forcefully curve your fingers like that. Yeah. So keeping the finger joint nicely relaxed curved should be your focus, not perpendicularly. Yeah. Okay. Once you have that, and when you do sliding fingers, two things you want to remember. Remember that the sliding finger, in this case second finger, should be staying on the string all the time. Even though that kind of makes sense when we think about it, but middle of the playing, there's so many things that we're focusing on, we sometimes forget and very obvious things, such as while sliding, leaving fingers on. The simple reason being is if I lift up, first the audience or myself will hear the other unwanted notes, in this case open D. Not only that, if you lift up your finger and then drop it, you have very small chance of being in tune because you have to land it on a very precise spot, which is not impossible, but there's other option which will increase your chance of being in tune higher, and why not take that? So by simply sliding, you can hear what notes are being played and stop when it's in tune. So you're increasing chance of being in tune even higher. So yeah, so lift the finger on the string while sliding. Second one, keep the fingertip very light. Just like let's say if I want to slide simple thing, let's say I don't know, if I want to slide my finger with a light tip, it's easier to slide inside. If I want to put all the weight, it's harder to push it forward. Same idea goes for the sliding fingers. So when you slide the finger, make sure the fingertip is so light that almost you should feel like you're not pressing the string all the way down. Yeah. So if you keep your fingertip light and then keep the finger on, that should work already. For the healthy sliding finger. So then in this particular study, it has a long slur. But if it's too hard for you, or if you haven't done it 6 notes in one bow yet, then feel free to break it. But when you break it, make sure you slur while sliding. So a good example would be you slur this 3 and another 3. Yeah. It's very important for you to keep bow slurred while sliding because our both thumbs are attached to one spine. So whenever right hand does, left hand wants to imitate and vice versa. So by slurring while sliding the finger, we're helping the horizontal movement of right hand. We're helping the left hand with the horizontal movement of right hand. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so yeah. So whatever you do, you don't have to stick to the printed bowing, but make sure you slur while sliding the finger. Yeah. So I hope this video was helpful. This kind of study is great, not only because it helps us to have independent fingers, but also it will play an important role when you start learning how to shift. Yeah. I hope to see you again. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.